Okay.
So after that time, Qadarullah, I got really ill, going to see specialists, going to the hospital and whatnot. Things that I was actually hiding from my own family. Like my parents knew, but I didn't tell my siblings and whatnot, because they were so worried about me, about what happened to me during that period, that I didn't want to worry them even more. But alhamdulillah, I got much better. And then about a year and a bit after I got divorced, then my father suddenly passed away. And I have this thing in my mind, you know, there's two ways that a person can pass away: suddenly, or you've actually know that person's going to pass away through illness.
It's like
and whatnot.
gradual.
Yeah, so I was thinking to myself, like, what's more difficult? I always have this conversation in my head, like, what's more difficult, dealing with sudden death or actually dealing with someone who's actually kind of like, you know that they're going to pass away because of illness and whatnot. But anyway, so, you know, I was working in the office, I get a phone call. Asif, you need to come back home straight away. Something's terrible's happened. You need to come straight away. And I had an inkling, but I didn't know fully the extent of it.
Yeah.
Go home. My sister-in-law's then go to the hospital. Your dad's really ill. Get to the hospital, and then subhanallah, I just find out my father's passed away.
Subhanallah.
And I suppose it's really.
So it was like sudden.
Yeah, it was sudden. Like we went to like my cousin's son's aqiqah like the day before.
Yeah.
The whole of the family were there, and you know he was completely fine, cracking jokes and whatnot, and you know as he usually does. And then to see him for the following day was, you know, really to see that he's passed away the following day is obviously a huge shock to the system. But the circumstances also in which he passed away were really sad, in that, you know, we live behind a medical center, like a doctor's surgery. So my dad thought, as he's going through this heart attack, he thought that it would be easier if he were to go to the doctor. He can, you know, do all the tests and whatnot, call the ambulance, walks all the way there. Doctor crazily says that no, go back home and ring from home the ambulance,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's stupid. And so my mum is actually bringing my dad back to the home. They ring up, paramedic finds out, goes to the doctor's surgery, blasts the doctor, saying, "What the hell were you thinking?" And he just passes, unfortunately, on the way. But alhamdulillah, he did say the shahada before he passed away, which is an incredible blessing. And then also my mum actually gave him zamzam as well. So, you know, these are, you know, like good signs.
Yeah, these are good signs.
But I mean, the whole process of death is really difficult.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more difficult because I started to blame myself for his death. Because just the day before, he mentioned some of the problems that I'm going through.
Okay.
And I felt that I contributed to his death, which is obviously wrong, because everyone's time is fixed, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will take a soul, you know, and it's not necessarily the things that led up to it, or, you know, it's important that when someone it's important not to self-blame.